Hello everyone, Plotbite is with you, and today we will tell you about the film where two professionals of their field are stuck in the most guarded prison in the world, called Red Notice in 2021. John, being an agent, arrives at the exhibition in order to prevent a crime. Daz immediately orders the building to be cordoned off, adding that he is the most wanted thief in the world. Nolan Booth is preparing to steal Cleopatra's egg, the main object of the exhibition. After checking the data from the thermal imager, you can understand that for some reason the egg does not reflect heat. John immediately seizes the soda to confirm that the egg has already been stolen. The hall is immediately cordoned off, and Nolan runs away, changing clothes along the way, blending into the crowd while John pushes the doors open. However, he quickly returns to Nolan, which takes a shortcut in the workshop. It remains to climb the scaffolding to the top floor, where John was already waiting for him, and he orders to give the egg. However, they are distracted by Agent Daz, diverting the chase outside the building. At the same time, luck is on Nolan's side, and he calmly descends the pipe and easily escapes. Barely 56 hours later, Nolan arrives at his small house, but John was already there, along with the local special forces, shocking Nolan. Yes, it immediately seizes the egg. By this time, Nolan had escaped from prison 6 times, but this time they chose the worst place for him. However, before that, John notices that Nolan is not interested in money. He wants to run away, proving to someone that he is better than others. A little later, someone replaces the egg, and although John suspects something, he still fails to find the culprit. 32 hours later, Dust finally finds the missing egg, but there is also a small flaw in why John received several $1 million on the day the egg went missing. Of course, John is trying to convey that he is innocent, but he doesn't give a damn about it and has already prepared a special place, Russia. Jonah arrives at the most dangerous prison in the world, from where it is simply impossible to escape because the prison stands on top of a mountain and the only way out is a suspension bridge. At the same time, none other than Nolan will live with him. Nolan understands perfectly well that they were fooled by another, the most wanted thief of the boat, also mentioning why everyone wants to get the eggs. An Egyptian billionaire is ready to give $300 million if the thief manages to bring all 3 eggs on his daughter's wedding day. However, no one in the world knows where the 3rd egg is hidden. But the second one is owned by a gun baron whose parties are held in complete anonymity. That's where his treasure is kept. Suddenly, Nolan starts shouting at the whole dining room that John is not a cop. Yes, he's from the FBI, but that's different. All this is noticed by one of the buggies and gently hints that he's screwed. John is trying to turn this incident into a peaceful course, but he doesn't think so, starting a brawl. And while the cons are praising the bully, the cops are dragging the duo away. John immediately orders them not to joke like that anymore, but they are distracted by the patrol because the boss is waiting for them, which is the Rook. And after 48 hours, she intends to steal the 2nd egg. Well, the 3rd one will help find Nolan, who actually knows where it is hidden, just didn't want to tell John. And no matter what they think, they're going to have the worst days of their lives. So the duo is transferred to penal servitude, where they decide to become a team. A new day is coming, and Nolan has already come up with a 3-step escape plan. First, you need to mix soap and pure glycerin with nitric acid, producing a huge explosion, followed by a scuffle. Well, step 2 was completed on the first day. That scene was just to steal the key to the map. It remains to pull out the pebble and expose the window of freedom. You just have to walk along the chasm in the hope that no one will slip up. Well, or John will back you up. Already on the takeoff pad, the guard does not notice the duo because he is looking through photos of Putin playing Russian songs. John immediately starts shooting back while Nolan knocks out the pilot and starts the helicopter. At the same time, the guard manages to point the RPG at John because he is a machine, destroying the bridge. But Nolan, not wanting to lose his comrade, opens fire with a minigun, suppressing the guards. That's enough time for John to jump on board, while the guard is aiming at John again, but he just opens another door, releasing a rocket. London. Rook captures the information analyst in order to hack his computer and send a message to Interpol that their friends have escaped, who have already contacted Nolan's friend named Tambay, and he has the names of the plane for them, including the plan of the House of the Armory Defense. According to their strategy, they need to use a secret loophole to get into the warehouse. As for the security systems, it is obvious that every inch of the house is under surveillance. There are 2 armed guards at each door, who change at the signal of the shift, which lasts only 45 seconds. There are 87 cameras throughout the house without any blind spots. The doors to the vault are protected by a half-meter titanium door, with a biological lock, and deepfake will help them in this, and the password needs to be found in their victim's phone. Valencia. The duo arrives at the party, and while John is posing as a guest, Nolan is the waiter. John quickly finds Rook, who is amazed by his disguise, but their idol is broken by the Baron, from whom John immediately steals the phone, not yet realizing that Agent Daz is among them. But the Baron starts to make a speech, activating the second step. Nolan pours wine on John, allowing him to be taken to the bathroom through the guards, where he can close the door and hack into the cameras, activating a 45-second timer in order to get into the shift and enter the Baron's room. The titanium door instantly falls from some deep fake, exposing all the treasures. However, this is noticed by the guards, including Agent Daz. John instantly knocks out the gun and locks the door, but by this time, the Rook had also entered the vault, starting a scuffle, and they didn't stand a chance against Wonder Woman. At the very end, the Baron himself visits them, because from the very beginning he was on the side of the Rook. A new day comes, the duo comes to their senses, already being connected. It remains to find out where the third egg is hidden through special tests by John himself. Nolan, not wanting to see him tortured, nevertheless confesses where the third egg can be found. And to be more precise, in Egypt itself. It remains to drink champagne, knocking out the Baron. And as soon as he regains consciousness, he immediately opens fire. One of the bullets breaks the handcuffs, freeing the duo. Well, the exit from the basement leads them straight to the arena with Beck, and they both run for their lives. A little later, John admits that his father was the best thief, but one day he disappeared, abandoning his family, showing that they are quite similar and only together they can win. After hearing all this, Nolan nevertheless says that after the Second World War, a German officer went to Argentina. Taking a small suitcase, enthusiasts spent the next 70 years trying to find Hitler's secret bunker somewhere in South America, including his father, who one day bought a watch from the same German, inside which the coordinates were hidden. A few days later, they still managed to find the secret passage, and surprisingly, the lights are still working. A whole warehouse was waiting for them behind the armored door, where the third egg was hiding. However, they are distracted by Rook, who did not buy his story, when suddenly Agent Daz joins their meeting, opening fire with the special forces. All that remains is to jump into an armored car and break through a hidden passage, unaware that there was a cliff waiting for them at the very end. Nolan quickly gets ashore with the egg, but does not notice John and leaves the dream of his whole life in order to save Drog, who also got ashore and kissed the boat, because they have always been together. Cairo, the Egyptian billionaire, finally gets the treasure, while Das breaks into the party and seizes the treasure, Sardinia. 6 months later, Nolan finally finds a couple from whom he has already stolen all their money, and he has a job for them, but for 3 people. That's where the movie ends. The Plot Bite channel was with you, and we will be very interested in how you rate this film. Just write to us about it in the comments, or just give us some interesting advice. See you very soon. Bye.